Hey everybody, happy Monday. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 10, Episode 8. And before we get into it, let me start off by saying this episode was a 20 out of 10. I don't care what anybody is saying, but Potomac is having one of their best seasons since Season 4. This feels like old Potomac. I am living. Stacey, even though the woman does tell a lie every now and again, you cannot tell me that Stacey is not clearing the girls. The last 5 minutes of this episode, I said 8 down. Listen, yes, Potomac is doing very well. I agree with y'all. When I tell y'all, the girls have brought their A game. I feel like everybody said, Karen is in jail. We have to step it up because the last few seasons have been abysmal, and we need to show the network that we can still carry without Miss Karen Huger, and they're doing just that. I was skeptical, but I was cautiously optimistic, and the girls, chef's kiss. Stacey has a bright future on Potomac, and I will not be surprised if Stacey is the new face of Potomac. Listen, y'all, you listen. I know that's a tall order, but Stacey really knows how to play the game, and she is doing exceptionally well. I want to say this too. With each passing episode, Wendy is showing us that she is in her veteran era. It took Wendy 6 seasons, but Mama knows how to play the game. And with the confessional shade that she's been throwing, the way she's maneuvering in the group, she's not in any beef, but she's like the voice of reason. She's everybody's friend now. Wendy's having her best season yet. So I think it's so ironic that she's having her best season, but she's now going through all this in real time, right? But I can always give the girls their due. Wendy's definitely having her best season yet, for sure. This is her personal best since she came on the show in season 5. She is really showing what it's like when you have been on the show now for 5+ seasons and you learn the game. Okay? All right? Yes. Okay, listen. I can always give the girls their due, okay? However I feel about them, I can always give the girls their credit. This is definitely Wendy's best season. The irony of it all, okay? But yes, y'all. But guys, this was a great episode, a juicy episode, and I have so much to say. So without further ado, let's get right on into it, okay? So we open back up. They're right back at Ashley's Pride Parade pregame at the bar, and Keiarna is being messy. It's obvious that somebody in production told Keiarna to do this because there was no reason for Keiarna to even bring this up. So Keiarna says, that's your ex-husband to Monique, right? And Monique says, yeah. So Keiarna says, oh, because Stacey was dating Chris. So Monique makes a face. And Stacey's like, wow, Keiarna, like, wow. One thing about Stacey's going to always deny everything, honey. She's going to always have that look of confusion, and I scream every time. So Stacey's like, girl, I just met Monique. So now we see the flashback of, no, Stacey says, stop it. I know him socially. So production plays a flashback of when they were in Nevis a few weeks ago, and Stacey did admit to Ashley and Jazzy that her and Chris did go out on a few dates, and that's all it was. She did not have sex with him. It was just some dates, and that's it. So now Stacey says, calm down, ladies, calm down. So Monique says, well, we've been divorced for almost 2 years. I would expect that he would date. Like, why are you bringing this to me? I don't care. So now Keiarna's like, well, I was just asking. I said, Keiarna, you were just asking because production put you up to that. There was no reason for you to ask that. So now Keiarna says, I know Stacey has people fooled, thinking that she's not that girl, but I know Stacey. So now Stacey says, that's so messy. And now we cut to Monique's confessional, and she says, he's my ex for a reason. I didn't want him anymore. Now, Monique, girl, between you and I don't believe that you ever wanted that man, but I'm gonna just keep it right there. Listen, you guys know how I feel about Monique Samuels. I could never look at her the same after what she did in season 5. But I'm keeping my promise. I said I would keep an open mind. And so far, Monique, I will say that I'm warming up to you. I was really proud and surprised by how well you handled this. I don't know what I was expecting. I thought that you might be upset that Stacey and Chris had dated or whatever. I was happy to hear you say, "Why are you bringing this to me? I don't care. He's allowed to date whoever he wants to date. As long as she likes kids, we're good." I said, "Well, Monique, where was this sensible Monique when you first came on the show? It would have been nice had we seen that in the beginning." But I said, Monique, again, I can always give the girls their due, and I'm going to give you 5 points for handling that like a rational person. I was here for that. Now, I will say this, though. Right before Wendy called me mean a few months ago, she did tell me that Monique has done a 180 and that we, the viewers, will be very pleasantly surprised at Monique's growth. I said, oh, okay. So who knows? But right now, it does look like Monique has grown just a tad. So Monique, I'm keeping an open mind about you this season, and I was glad to see that you handled this with some sense. Okay. So now we cut to Stacey saying that Stacey says to Ashley that, this whole persona of her being a drag king, Ash TOP. And she's like, you're a beautiful woman, but something about you in drag, it's kind of appealing. Like, it kind of does something to me. Now, I don't know what it is about Ashley as Ash TOP, but she has the girls flustered. You have Tia saying that Ash TOP could get it. Now Stacey, I feel like somebody else said that they liked Ash TOP. Was it Karen last season? Because Karen said that Ashley looks good as a man too. But yeah, honey, when Ashley turns into Ash TOP, the girls all want to jump all over it. I said, all right. So now, did anybody else catch how Ashley was trying to act like she was disgusted by Stacey hitting on her? Because she was like, okay, like, what kind of party is this? I said, now, Ashley, 2 episodes ago, you were giving us a little girl on girl. You were licking all over Jazzy. Like, don't act like you're so disgusted by Stacey complimenting you and say you look good as a man. Okay? You said it's the breasts and the facial hair will get them every time. Yes, it was Karen last season. No, Ashley tried too hard. Yes, the most predatory acting prudent. Exactly. I'm not feeling Ash TOP, but okay. Yeah, I was just kind of like, Ashley, you are very free. You let us know that you enjoy women. So for you to act so disgusted by Stacey complimenting you, I said, girl, stop. If I were Stacey, I wouldn't even have gassed Ashley's head up like that, but that's just me. So now Ashley says, Stacey, I just want to clear something up. I'm very happy for you and your business, but you caught me off guard with your cannabis launch. The name being Yoruba felt a little weird to me. And my thing was, Ashley, why are you addressing Stacey's cannabis line? If anything, the only one who should address Stacey is Wendy. And her and Wendy already talked about this in the last episode. So why are you now trying to say, oh, it really weirded me out that you have your own line too? Like, you don't have a cannabis line. I just find it really odd that they all want to make a big deal about whatever Stacey does. It's weird. If Wendy's not tripping off of it, why do you care so much? And at the end of the day, y'all all bite off of each other. You guys all copy each other. So, like, this whole thing is a moot point. I was so irritated. Like, girl, who are you to try to press her about her cannabis line? I was so aggravated. Yeah, she has nothing going on. So now, Gizelle, we have Gizelle asking what's the name of her line. And Stacey says it's Shayo. So Wendy says, yeah, she named it Shayo. It's a Nigerian name. So Gizelle's like, wait, it's Nigerian? Are you Nigerian, Stacey? So Stacey says, I do have Nigerian heritage. I took a DNA test. Of course, they laugh at her. And I said, but if the lady took a DNA test and found out that she's 38% Nigerian, why are y'all laughing? I just, it's aggravating because like, it's one thing to not care for somebody. When you want to pick at whatever they do and say, it's exhausting. Whatever Stacey says, they have a problem with it. I don't know why they're so pressed at her finding out that she's Nigerian. Like, I just, it's very annoying. At the end of the day, Wendy and Eddie don't own the cannabis industry. So if somebody else wants to go into it, then they have that right. And her and Wendy already talked about this in the last episode. Wendy's cool with it. So why are they pressing her about it? It's just so annoying. So anyhow, you have Angel asking, Angel says, I think it's ancestry versus heritage. So Ashley's like, oh yeah, that's a really good point. So Wendy says, now Stacey, as your friend, if you're going to name a Yoruba name, pronounce it correctly. You don't pronounce it correctly. So Tia gives her the correct enunciation of it. I think she says it's Shayor. Y'all, if I have Nigerian subscribers, let me know. Did I say it wrong? If I did, forgive me. Okay? Yes. If Wendy isn't upset, why are they? Exactly. Ash TOP is a loser. They just want to hate her so bad. She's not folding. I love her. Exactly. So anyhow, Tia gives her the correct pronunciation of her brand. And Stacey says, thank you for that. I love my Nigerian sisters to correct me. And you have Gizelle cackling in the background. So now we cut to Tia's confessional and she says, we can't claim Stacey because Stacey has paid for a boyfriend. In Nigeria, we don't do that. The boyfriends pay for us. We don't do that nonsense. Now, Tia, hold on a minute. I don't know if you've all seen that mess on TikTok with the Danish deception. The Black woman who paid for a Danish man. She was swindled out of $200,000, but she was paying for a man. Well, come to find out, she's Nigerian. So I said, Tia, unfortunately, one of your Nigerian sisters was down bad because she was paying a white man's way, a hot raggedy mess. She's still paying for him till this day, a mess. Okay? A hot mess. Honey, if you have not seen it on TikTok, it is a 30-part, like Risa Tisa part 2. It is pure foolishness. And the sad part is, despite him cheating her out of money and swindling her, he broke up with her. And it's clear that she still wants him back after paying a man's way. It's a white man. She paid over $200,000 for a white man who did not want her. And she shot her shot first. A hot mess. A hot mess. Brooke, I watched it this weekend after you mentioned it. A mess, honey. Baby, the desperation is sweeping the nation. It has the girls in a chokehold. I don't know what's going on, but it needs to stop. So, honey, a mess. So anyhow, Angel goes on to ask, Ashley says, another instance of Stacey not being genuine. And Angel says it's giving money grab just a little bit. Now, Angel, girl, you know, I love you. You're a sweetheart person, but I got to just, tap you on the wrist because, honey, G&A is the ultimate money grab. Sorry, when Ashley had that the Australian restaurant in seasons 1 and 2 that got closed down because nobody wanted to eat that, that was a money grab, okay? All these women have had money grabs as businesses, so not too much on Miss Stacey. Let her make her coin, all right? So now Angel goes on to ask Stacey if she's doing any social justice for her business, or there's a social justice portion. And Stacey shuts it down. She says, you know what? I'm done with this conversation. Enough. So Angel says, well, if you want to be rude about it, don't be rude. I just want to know. Stacey says, girl, again, I'm done. No more questions. So now we cut to Stacey, not Stacey. Ashley lets us know that it's time for them to head over to the float. She says it's a big G&A float and she's proud. Wendy says, now, I don't know how this is a GNA float. GNA was originally a fashion brand. I don't know how we turned from a fashion brand to now we were doing aerobics last year. And now it's like, what are we doing now? What is GNA? At this point, is it a tax front? I said, Wendy, we're all confused about what GNA is too. GNA right now, I don't know if it's just a business. That's all it is. We don't know what it is. We don't know why it is, but it's just there. But I say now, Wendy, knowing what we know now about what you're going through, your whole ordeal, you could have left that whole, is it a tax front out? I'm just saying, but I'm with you when you're right, because we're all confused as to what GNA is. Okay, it's a concept of a plan. Exactly. It's more lifestyle. It's giving very much spring, summer, September joggers. Yes, She by Sheree is better than GNA. Exactly. Wendy was doing research. It's afloat now. I need Candace back. These girls are letting Ashley get away with too much. Okay. Ciao. So now they get on the float. They're all dancing, having fun. They have Ashley. Ashley's getting water poured, all over her, like it's a wet t-shirt contest. So we cut to Ashley's confessional. She says that she came out to her grandma after church. She told her grandma, I have a crush on this girl. She says, my grandma did not get mad, but she did not embrace me with open arms either. She says, I didn't tell anyone until she was 14. So wait. Maybe I missed something. I watched the episode twice. What age was it that she came out to her grandma? Because I was expecting her to say that she came out later on at like 20, 24, but like I was just surprised. I don't know. I'm like, well, when did you tell your grandma that you felt, you know what I'm saying? Was she 12, 13? Let me know, because maybe I missed it, but I watched the episode twice and I don't remember her saying what age she came out to her grandma. You don't believe Ashley's coming out story. You know what's really funny? For some reason, I don't believe it either. I don't know why. I thought that is so funny that you thought that, because I was kind of thinking like Ashley will always sit up there and tweak or twist the truth. Okay, so she was 12 when she told her grandma. Okay, thank you so much. So now she says, but now she went to her first Pride parade. It was DC Black Pride. She felt the community. She says, now my grandma is all for it. She's like, oh, girl, who are you dating now? What are they like? Are they cute? And she's like, okay, grandma. So I'm glad that her grandma is on board. Her grandma is supportive of her. That's great. Good for Ashley. You said, I don't believe it either. You said, I believe nothing Ashley got going on. You said Ashley's lying. It went from 8 to 6 to 4. Come on, Nene. When Nene called out Cynthia about Kenya's new man, she says 16 on this episode. She said 16. Well, how is that? If she came out to her whole family at 14, then when did she told her grandma first? I thought she said. I'm confused again, y'all. If I missed it, let me know. But I could have sworn she said 14 to everybody else, and then I don't know what age she said to her grandma. You said she's rounding her numbers. So now y'all have me screaming in the chat. Okay, she came out to her grandmother at 12 and then came out to everybody else at 14. Got it. So I don't know where y'all got 16 from. Who knows, y'all? You said exactly, Brooke. She confused, you confused, we all confused. Okay. I thought she said 7 or 8 to her grandma. She did. I must have missed that. Listen, again, y'all, I'm confused. Let's move on. So now they're off the flow. It's time for lunch. And they're all sitting down around the table. And Gizelle says, well, Monique, I did not expect to see you. And Monique says, for sure, I didn't know what to expect either. I haven't seen any of y'all in 5 years. So Gizelle says, I didn't have any expectations, but I do have to say that your energy and your vibe now is very refreshing. So Monique says, thank you, same to you. So now Wendy jumps in and says, now, last time we saw you, your life was different. What's going on? What's the update with Chris? Because when you came into the group, you guys had a solid marriage. And Monique says, yeah, we had a good image. I said, oh. So we see the flashbacks of her and Chris during happier times. And Wendy's like, well, damn, Monique. So Monique says that she was not being loved properly and that she wished that somebody told her that the person that you marry that person could get worse. Now, Monique, I'm sorry, but I highly doubt that nobody told you that. I highly doubt it. I mean, I thought that if you have, everybody's mom or grandmother told them that what you put up with is going to get even worse in a marriage. So be careful what you put up with. I thought that everybody knew that how you start is how you finish, right? That's what I heard growing up. I still hear that now, but I don't believe that nobody told you about that. I'm Monique. I'm gonna be honest with you. I appreciate you telling us the real story that you and Chris were not happy at all. But I feel like a lot of this is due to you're trying to revamp and clean up your image because of what we saw on Love and Marriage DC on OWN. I think that you were upset with the feedback that you got with how you were talking to Chris, that we all saw that you did not want that man. I think now you want to make it like, see, I'm not the bad guy. He was always horrible. No, I'm not saying that Chris is not perfect by far. Shout out to Portia for that. But I'm not really buying a lot that you're selling, because I think that you're really just trying to clean things up because you got so bashed for how you were disgusted by that man on Love and Marriage DC. Just saying, yes, from one image to the next. Yes, I still don't like Monique. She's not fooling me. Yes, exactly. Yes, it's revisionist history. I agree. Yeah, if you watch Love and Marriage DC, the first season was only like 9 or 10 episodes, but I remember saying, oh yeah, they are headed for a divorce. She did not like that man. It was clear that she did not want that man. And I talk about this episode all the time, but I don't know if you guys remember when Bravo used to play the unedited scenes of the episodes. I wish they would start doing that. But remember the episode after the assault in season 5? I want to believe that it was episode 11 when Monique's pastor came to that house and he read her for filth, when he said, listen, you thought that they would be impressed by what you had, and they weren't. You were still that same woman who is craving validation because you lived in your pickup truck. I believe that Monique, she saw that this man was doing well, a football player. She wanted out the pickup truck, and she got with him. I'm not believing that she had no idea that he was just so horrible. And again, it's no shade, but I'm just not here for what Monique is trying to sell us right now. Just saying. Okay. Yes, she is so over him because she never wanted him, in my humble opinion. Okay. All right. So now, and then one more thing. Remember in was that season 2 or season 3? The season where Monique and Chris went back to Alabama to visit his family, and we were introduced to his mom, and the infamous line of, "No, didn't I set that heifer straight?" Do you remember when they sat down for the conversation about how their marriage was doing? They were only like 4 or 5 years in, and Monique was like, we fight all the time. We fight all the time. And sex is the only thing that has us together. But like, we fight all the time. And I remember thinking, like, I'm sorry, but 4 to 5 years into a marriage, that's a bit too new to be having blowout fights. Like I was already thinking, like, there might be some warning signs already here. So I'm just not here for that. There were signs in the way beginning, but I digress. Okay. Yes, Monique married him for the bag and the status. Yes. Yeah, I knew back then already. Okay. Yes. Because I was like, why would, like, 5 years into, for all my married folks, let me know. Is 5 years a bit too soon to be having all these issues? Just let me know in the chat, y'all. Okay. I always like to ask the experts. So anyhow, Monique says that the first time I felt like I couldn't do this, it was when our daughter was 6 months old. So Monique, that's clear that you wanted out before the marriage even started. You guys, Milani was what? Milani was like 1 or 2 when you joined the show. You guys had only been married for 4 years. Girl, you wanted out from the beginning, honey. You wanted out from the jump, because you're telling me at 6 months, she was 6 months, you wanted out. I said a hot mess. A hot mess. Okay, that was season 2, episode 3. Thank you, Jameer. No, you can have issues as soon as the first year. honey, you pick a fight with me after 6 months and it's a divorce. Disagreements, sure, but huge fights. No, yeah, that's what I mean. Of course, disagreements, yes. But I'm saying like huge, fights. I feel like that's a warning sign, especially so early into it, in my opinion. I do think it's too soon. Yes, I've been married for 12 years. So to me, even 7 or 8 is short. Thank you. I appreciate your feedback. That was my thought. If she knew that she was already having issues when they had their second child, why was she so why would they have a third? Like you know what I'm saying? And they have, the kids are adorable. But my thing was that too. If you knew that you wanted out then, I was shocked that she let, him pressure her to have a third child. At any year mark, there shouldn't be any blowout fight, struggle love. She had another kid to try and save their marriage. Married 10 years, we tussle in the bed. I know that's right. It's common for couples to think that having a baby can save a marriage. That's true. We see that. Yeah, that happens a lot. No, that's a good point. That's very true. But that is very sad. That is very sad, though, that early into it, she already wanted out. So now she says, Gizelle, do you remember when we went to France? That was season 3. She hosted the cast trip. That was definitely one of the best cast trips on Potomac, for sure. Monique's trip. They were in the south of France. So Gizelle says, of course I do. So Monique says, you and I were butting heads, but you did say some real stuff to me then when you told me that being with a man who's used to being in the limelight, and then when you start getting attention, it could be hard for them. I remember that stuck with me. So now we see the flashback of season 3 when Gizelle did tell Monique that Monique had said that every year on her birthday, Chris always picks a fight with her. Now, quick side note. I'd have to guess that Chris was already doing this when you guys were dating, because that's insane to me. What do you mean that every time my birthday rolls around, you start a fight with me? I thought, and usually, and generally speaking, broke or stingy men do that because they don't want to pay for a gift for you for your birthday. Ladies, that's a huge red flag. Any man who picks a fight with you on the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's Day, your birthday, you need to leave him, because 9 times out of 10 he's cheap and he doesn't want to buy you anything. That's why he's doing that. A hot mess. Very weird. You said, I don't believe that. I think it's the opposite. Child, narcs do that. My friend is married to one. He always starts fights on special occasions. Oh, that's horrible. That is horrible. You said something is wrong with both Chris and Monique. That marriage seemed off from the beginning. My man is extra nice to me because he doesn't want to ruin my birthday. You better be on point. Exactly. Brooke, what you say when a man is jealous of his girl is dangerous. It's true. It's the truth. Y'all, I will preach that from the rooftops. Please, y'all, first of all, a jealous person is dangerous, but a jealous husband, a jealous boyfriend, you better run away immediately, y'all. A mess. So now Gizelle says, I remember all of that. I remember how she'd be embarrassed by what he said publicly. I remembered how she would work overtime to make him appreciate who she was. I knew that Monique would wake up one day and be like, I don't want to live like this anymore. Now, knowing what we know now about Monique and knowing that her marriage was a complete sham, I'll be the first one to admit that we might have been very hard on Gizelle when Monique stepped on the scene. Because I know I was like, girl, why are you giving her a hard time? She hasn't done anything to you. But I do believe that Gizelle actually did clock Monique. She had Monique's number the entire time. And that's why she couldn't get with Monique, because she can sense the phoniness. But we were all so blind and thinking, oh no, she has 4 homes. And, why are y'all picking on her? Like, but the whole time Gizelle was like, no, girl, something ain't quite right. Like, I know the signs of a woman in distress. This ain't it. Okay. But Monique says, Tia goes on to ask, okay, so you think that both things can be true? You think that Gizelle was jealous, but Monique was also a fraud? You know what? You're right. Listen, you're right. multiple things can be true at the same time. Okay. But I was trying to be gracious and say, you know what, Gizelle, maybe I had you pegged wrong the entire time. But you're like, no, girl, don't let Gizelle off the hook. I'm screaming. You said, of course, Gizelle wouldn't know. Bitter recognizes bitter. Honey, okay, you said Brooke both. Okay, both can be lies. Okay. You said Gizelle ate that one little thing. Yes, she did. So Tia goes on to ask, what was the straw that broke the camel's back, right? Like what was the moment that you knew you couldn't do this anymore? So Monique says, I noticed that he would be the nicest guy when he wanted something. And I said, let me put this theory to the test. It seems like he always acts like this. And then when he gets some booty, he goes back to being an a-hole. So she says, I tested the theory out one night. I gave him some. He rolled over like it was nothing. I felt like a piece of meat. So I told him the very next morning, you will never enter me again. I said, not enter. I said, girl, Monique was giving Summer from Summer House Martha's Vineyard. I don't know if you got, well, I know only 2 of y'all watched the show, hence why I got canceled, but I digress. But if you watch Summer House Martha's Vineyard, one of the nutty girls on the show who was a complete buzzkill. She just brought the entire mood down. She had this infatuation with one of the guys. She was just like, you entered me. And when you entered me, they were all like, girl, what? So Monique gave me very much Summer when she said, you will never enter me again. I said, oh, I can't imagine it either. I have a visceral reaction trying to imagine it. It's the same thing of trying to imagine Todd and Bronwyn. So she says that, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. She says, I look back on it and I say that you guys added years to my marriage because instead of arguing with him, I argued with y'all. So Gizelle's like, you're welcome. And they all laugh. Now, let me say this. Monique, the fact that you stayed in this horrible marriage just to save face and to rub it in that you were married to a rich man and they weren't, girl, I'm sorry, Monique. Like, really? I'm glad that you can look back on it now. Listen, I'm happy that Monique is telling her new version of the truth, but I still feel like this is trying to do damage control because her image was definitely bruised coming off of Potomac and then Love and Marriage DC. I think that she's trying to spin this, that he was so horrible and, she wasn't loved properly because she's mad about what we saw as the viewers. But yeah, the story keeps changing. It's true. It's true. It's true. So we're getting the new version of the truth, honey. Okay. But listen, at the end of the day, I'll be honest and say that so far I'm warming up to Monique Samuels. We'll see how long it lasts, but so far, so good. Okay. Again, y'all, I said I would be fair. Okay. Hey, Robert6, thank you for the super chat. Hey, Brooke, I hope you're having a great weekend. I'm watching you on a cruise. I want to enjoy it, but it's social anxiety person's nightmare. Do you like cruises? Well, have fun on the cruise. Drink up, eat up. Cruises, I feel like I get claustrophobic. I've been on 2 cruises. They were cute, but I don't know. I wouldn't say that I'm such a cruise person because I eat, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm too boxed in. And then also all the temptation with all that food, it's like 24/7 food. They have to like roll you out of there when you're done off of a cruise. So, but have the best time on your cruise. Hey, Rich the Fish, thank you for the super chat. She meant to say something appalling. So now we get to a short scene with Angel and Bobby looking for houses. They're at a listing right now. This house is for $3.2 million. Just my personal taste. This house didn't do it for me. personally, but if that's their taste, great. So the home is going for $3.2 million. Angel says, we always plan to be a bi-coastal family. Shout out to Mia, because Mia said that they were bi-coastal from, Maryland to North Carolina. Shout out to Mia, honey. Shout out to Miss Mia Thornton. God bless. So she says that, we always intended to have a Colorado and a Maryland home. Me and Bobby are both raised in the DMV. We want to raise our kids here too. So now she says that, now I will say this though. I don't know if this is the home for them because Bobby is way too tall. Bobby is a good 6'7", 6'8", and the way he had to keep like ducking so that he didn't bump his head. I said, that's not going to work for the long term. Because to think about, have to remind yourself that you have to crouch down so you don't bang your head every day. That would be annoying. So this might not be the house. So now, they're checking out the house. Angel says, we've seen hundreds of houses. We visited about 20 and the house is nice. So now they go outside. Bobby likes the backyard. He says that it's God's country. Angel says it's a nice home. We have a lot of family that comes over. We need the space. So now they're sitting down and Angel says, I can see me and my friends out here, just chilling, having a good time. And now Angel says that this is the perfect time for me to tell you about some gossip about the ladies. So she's saying that she's getting to know the women, trying to make sense of who they are, but she's still upset with Gizelle calling her a catfish. She felt blindsided. Then she says, Wendy it was very unnecessary for Wendy for her to repeat what she was saying about me being a catfish. She says, I'm very disappointed in Wendy because she threw sauce on what Gizelle was trying to say. Angel, I would love to have you on my channel. You know that. Angel, we are on episode 8. We are almost halfway through this season. Well, no, I think we're already at the halfway mark because you guys are getting 16 episodes. I heard we are at the halfway point, Miss Mamas. You and Gizelle cleared this up in episode 4 or 5. Gizelle apologized to you 6 times. It's enough already. It is enough already. It's time to let the mouse go, in the words of Sutton Strack. It's enough. You already got the apology and the closure that you wanted. Enough. Why are we still bringing this up? And I'm saying this as respectfully as possible, but as a viewer, I'm come on, it's enough already. Then for you to say, Wendy egging it on. I remember that Wendy was laughing. Did I think that it was petty for Wendy to laugh? I did say that when I did review that episode, but Wendy wasn't adding any extra sauce to the story. I have to be honest. I have to be honest. I don't remember Wendy putting any extra sauce on anything. At the end of the day, Angel, let this be the final episode that we hear about the whole catfish gate. It's not that deep. Even Bobby told you, I understand that you're upset. Your feelings are valid, but is it really that serious? Is it really that deep? Even your husband is like, honey, it's time to let this go, please. So now, and also, Angel, when you said that you have a hard time letting stuff go, I get that, right? I have a hard time letting things go too. But when you join the Real Housewives, that's actually a must. Real Housewives is not the place to hold on to grudges. You literally can't do it, because if you hold on to stuff, you're going to be off the show. The nature of these shows is you attack each other, you shade each other, then you let it go. Baby, let this go. Let this be the last time. I don't want to hear about Facetune, Photoshop, catfish, tilapia, salmon. I don't want to hear it. Enough already. Let this go, please. Please, please, please. And Angel, you're a beautiful woman. Again, I saw you. I looked you in your eyes at BravoCon. You are a beautiful woman. I don't know why you're even tripping out about this comment at all. You look good in person, mama. That's all that matters. You're a beautiful woman. So it doesn't matter what they're saying about you. You look good. face card, body snatch. Like, you look good. Please. You know, no, it's enough. Whiting codfish, like, let it go. Grouper, like, I don't want to hear about any fish, nothing. No more. No more. Let this go. So now we cut to Gizelle, Ashley, Tia, and Keiarna meeting up for a cute little girls' lunch. Now, Ashley, like, my heart kind of sank because, Ashley, you and I have the same dress. I have that same exact dress in red. And I'm like, Ashley, since when are you spending good money on your clothes? Like, girl, I bought the same dress from Neiman Marcus. PH5 is the designer. I have it in red. And I said, girl, what? Like, me and Ashley having the same dress? Like, girl, my heart sank. Like, it did. Yep, you have the same exact dress too, the pink red version. Yes. That's the same one that I have. I just said, wait, not Ashley. Like, what? Yes, honey. She does make the clothes look real cheap. I said, girl. Yes, the way she was walking in the shoes. I said, Ashley, is this your first time walking in heels? She was like, oh yeah, I feel like I'm walking in stilts. Ashley was walking like Gina walks on OC. If you watch OC, you know exactly how Gina walks. I said, girl. So anyhow, they're all sitting down for lunch. Ashley's like, so how are y'all doing? Did you guys have a good time at Pride? Keiarna says, oh yeah, I had a great time. Pride wore me out. So Ashley says, oh, y'all can't hang because I was out till 3 a.m. So now Tia says, oh yeah, Gizelle, meeting your daughter Grace, she is just everything. I'm obsessed with her. Gizelle says that, yeah, Grace wants to call you English Muffin. That's really cute. So now Gizelle brings up that she's a bad bitch, honey. She has 10 million downloads of their podcast, Reasonably Shady with Robin. And I have to say, Gizelle and Robin, come here. Don't ever say that I don't give the girls their 10s. Gizelle and Robin, y'all should be proud because you guys are some of the few housewives who actually took your podcasting seriously, because so many of your peers will make a YouTube or a podcast and they put in such little effort. They don't even try. It's half-assed effort. They put one video up and that's it. So kudos to y'all because you guys are one of the few who actually give a damn about your podcast, unlike your peers. Okay? Some of your castmates have put a YouTube channel. It's no shade. Some of your castmates, some of your peers on the other franchises put up a YouTube channel and leave it for dead. So shout out to y'all for actually giving a damn about your podcast and it's actually doing well. So that's an accomplishment. All right. Okay. So now we find out that they were nominated for an NAACP Image Award, and they are one of the top podcasts on Black Effect. So now she says that she's throwing a party to celebrate, and she's invited all the women and their husbands to attend. So Keiarna's like, guys, I have to tell y'all something. When I was leaving the Pride Parade, Cookie called me. So she says, we're on the phone. She tells me, hold on, Chris Samuels is calling me on the other line. So she clicks back in and says, yeah, he just called me very upset, talking about how Monique was trash talking him, saying that he had bad sex and he treated her like a piece of meat. So Keiarna said, wait, that didn't happen. Like, Monique did not trash talk anybody. So they're all shocked, like, wait, what? So Ashley's like, wait, who told her this? So Keiarna says it was Stacey, y'all. So Tia's like, no way. Are you serious? So Gizelle's like, wait a minute. Are you like for real? So now Keiarna says, yes. She explicitly told me that Stacey called Chris and told him that Monique was dogging him out to us. So Gizelle says, wait, we had a sister moment with Monique and she calls Chris up. Like, I would never do that with Michael Darby. And Ashley's like, yeah, same here. I would never call up Jamal Bryant. Like, who does that? So Tia says the fact that Chris is picking up immediately too says a lot. So Gizelle says, look, I don't care if you're having sex with Chris, but he should not know anything of what was discussed. So now Tia's like, oh, does Stacey know Cookie? And that we find out that Cookie does not like Stacey, and Cookie will be at the party on Saturday. So Ashley's like, yeah, Cookie's about to sing like a canary. And now Gizelle makes a joke saying that her clippings are about to fall out. So here, let me just stop right here. I never got the hype about Cookie when she came on in the a few episodes ago when they went to Karen's favorite breakfast spot in honor of Karen's birthday. I thought that Cookie was trying way too hard. It's obvious that she wants camera time. She wants to be on the show in some capacity. Desperation will always ooze out of your pores, and Cookie gives very much desperate. I think that, like one of y'all said, Cookie is definitely way too invested. And I believe that Cookie has a crush on Chris Samuels, because why does she care so much about who Chris is dating, who he's seeing? Why, like the fact that she doesn't like Stacey, it's all very weird. It's very weirdo behavior because, again, Cookie, why do you care so much about what Chris has going on? And I'm on the fence about Stacey opening her mouth. I don't know. For whatever reason, I'm just not buying it. I don't know. I feel like this is all a lie and a scheme that Cookie set up to bring us the BS, in my opinion. I don't know. Yes, Cookie is a groupie and stalks celebrities. I agree. Cookie wants Chris Samuels to be on a what you said, a cookie diet, her cookie. Exactly. Clock it. Why is Cookie talking to Chris Samuels every day? Sounds like you might be up and under him. Exactly. Why is Cookie even around? Also, what is Keiarna's storyline? Nothing. I feel Karen put Cookie up to this. No shade. I agree. You y'all, one of y'all has me screaming so hard in the comment section, y'all. Please. Bravo's moving and acting like Cookie's a friend of the show, and she's not. Exactly. Chris needs to check for how much his name has been mentioned. I agree. Yes, Cookie wants Chris. She's declassing the show, giving very much weirdo. She is. We need Aunt Junebug on Real Housewives of Atlanta. I don't believe Kay or Cookie. I agree. They need to start bringing weirdos like this on reality shows. I agree. You said her wigs are giving Aretha Franklin's. So anyhow, they're asking. Oh no, I finished that scene. No, but yeah, I'm just not here for Miss Cookie. Cookie, stop it. Stop. I don't understand why you care so much about what Chris has going on. I don't understand it. I really don't. She wants Chris to have only her cookie. I hope Andy calls Chris at the reunion. I think Stacey said it, but I don't care. The plot is to bring down Stacey. Is so exhausted. I agree. Yes, Deborah 2.0. I agree. Yes, Stacey's with her ex. She wants no parts of this Chris story. She isn't throwing herself in the middle of the mess. That Kay, Stacey, and Cookie are plotting. I agree. So now y'all have me screaming you have me screaming in this chat, please. So now we cut to a scene with Wendy and Monique. And I have to say, this was a pretty good scene. So it was cute because Monique and Wendy both have the same white Chanel bags. Wendy has the jumbo Chanel. Monique has the mini Chanel. I said, now, Wendy, knowing what we know now, you were better off getting that mini Chanel just like Monique did. Monique stayed in her price range, honey. So now Wendy says, it's literally like a new chapter. Monique says, you were the first person to reach out to me after the fight. Now, Monique, respectfully, I need you to call a thing a thing. In the words of Miss Iyanla Van Zandt, stop. It was not a fight. It was an assault. Okay? All right. So I'm going to need you to be clear about what it really was, but okay. So Wendy says, oh, I was. And And Wendy says, it sucks because I felt like we never got the chance to know each other. Monique says, I know. So Wendy says, it was like we were getting there. And then Monique says, yes, all hell broke loose. But I said, Monique, don't say that all hell broke loose. All hell broke loose because of you. It's because of your actions that's why you got off, that you were off the show. It's due to your piss poor behavior, your violent behavior. That's the reason why you were in this boat in the first place. Don't say that all hell broke loose like it was some random thing. No, it was all because of you, ma'am. Take accountability. So now Wendy says that I was surprised that Monique wanted to meet up with me because she did something to my friend. I'm not going to reach out to you. I'm not going to reach out to you when you fought my friend, but I'm also open because I know that people change. So I just said, I'm happy to hear that, Wendy really did have Candace's back when all that stuff went down. And I'm the same way too. No way do you attack my friend and expect me to reach out to you and hang out with you. That's not happening. For me, I don't play that. If you're beefing with my loved one, I have beef with you. Don't talk to me. I won't talk to you. But you don't get to hurt my loved ones and then think that we're going to be friends on the side. Absolutely not. So now Monique says, I give everybody space. When I saw you all at Pride, I didn't want to come off like we're being fake. So now Monique goes on to ask Wendy what her and Gizelle's relationship looks like. Wendy says it's much better. I actually consider Gizelle to be a friend. Now, I'm not trying to be funny, but did anybody catch Monique's face when Wendy said that? Monique gave that look like, well, okay, if Wendy and Gizelle can be friends, then maybe there's hope for me, because I will always maintain that Monique has always desired to be Gizelle's friend. Okay, so she was looking like, if Wendy can be friends with Gizelle, then there's hope for me too. That my lifelong dream of finally being Gizelle Bryant's friend can finally come true. So anyhow, Wendy says, I think that you and her need to have a conversation though. So Monique says, oh, absolutely, we need to have a conversation. So she says, we definitely butted heads in the past because back then I used to go hard. I take your whole block off. So now Monique says that sometimes forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. And then she goes on to ask if Wendy has talked to Karen, recently. So Wendy says, the last time I saw Karen, Stacey dropped a bomb that Karen had been talking ish about me. And then she skipped the reunion, so I didn't get to address her. And then she made that video and she thanked everybody except for me. Now, a quick side note, Potomac, y'all have applied my notes because the food all throughout this episode was on point. That lobster roll that Wendy ordered, my mouth was watering, honey. I was drooling. I love a lobster roll. I said, honey, I would have been all over that lobster roll in that scene. Girl, what? But the food looks so good. Monique's rap looked good too. So anyhow, Wendy says that, right after New York, she was sentenced and taken away immediately. So Wendy says, I hear that the women have not spoken to her. And then she brings up Cookie. So she says that's a person who's been giving info to the group regarding Karen. So now we find out that Cookie met Karen through Monique. Monique said, baby, I set that up. I'm the connector, okay? She wouldn't know Karen if it weren't for me. I said, okay, Monique, let us know then. So come to find out, she met Cookie back in 2007. It was at one of Chris's birthday parties, and they had the father of go-go music there, Chuck Brown. So she says that Cookie told her that she was Chuck Brown's daughter. So Monique says, and come to find out, he ain't no kin to her. Like, that's not her family. Who would lie about something like that? I say, Cookie, for you to be good and grown, Cookie was already a good 50-something back in 2007. For her to lie and say that she's a famous person's kid, that's sad. I said, yes, I believe what Monique is saying too about Cookie. That's the only time I believe that she's telling the full truth and nothing but the truth, because Cookie seems nuts. Okay. All right. Yes, Cookie is a good 75 acting a fool. I agree. Yeah, I said that tracks. It was giving Drew as Michael Jordan's cousin. Yes, Cookie is a weirdo. I agree. So now Monique says that's a whole demonic entity right there. I said, now, when Monique Samuels is calling you demonic, you know you're lost, okay? So now Monique says, I can't be around people who act as if they're your friend, but talking ish behind your back. She says, I have my reasons. I'm staying away from that one. And Wendy goes on to ask, what are her thoughts on the new girls? So Monique says they seem really cool, but they also seem really passive. And then I said to myself, since when is Wendy the spokesperson for all these girls? So Wendy's like, yeah, I know. So now Wendy's like, I like Stacey. She's a good person. She's a sweetheart. I'm tired of the girls getting up on her, but she does need to acknowledge that how she moves in this group can have folks looking at you crazy. So Monique says, you feel comfortable around her, like being your homegirl. I feel like Stacey's taking notes on everybody and what they're doing, and she's trying to become you. She says she should maybe take a step back and see who. She says, Wendy, take a step back and see who she is. I said, now, Monique, 2 quick points. Respectfully, I don't think that Stacey is trying to be Wendy. I don't. I think that we are blowing this whole cannabis line out of proportion. I don't believe that Stacey is trying to morph into Wendy. I don't. On top of that, for you to say, take a step back and see who somebody is, we need you to take a step back and show us who the real Monique is. Because Monique, we're still trying to figure out who you are after all these years of you on TV. It's a new version of you. It's a new story every time we see you. So just saying, girl, just saying. You said, no, she is. She's being a single Black female. I don't agree. I think that I don't know. I don't agree that she's trying to copy Wendy. I don't. I think that she should have been honest about the cannabis line at the reunion. I think that she can be sneaky, but I don't think that she wants to be Wendy. I don't, in my opinion. Yeah, Stacey is trolling. Will the real Monique please stand up? So now we jump to the next scene. We see Stacey and Thiemo they're at their daughter Arabella's swim practice. So she says that they're still doing their Evite dates. She jokes and says that it was a drought last year. Well, we know, girl, messing with TJ and his cheap broke self, and he was out there, messing around with his Bugs Bunny stuffed animal. He wasn't touching you, so we know it was a drought. We know it was real dry. That episode when they were talking about their sex lives at Karen's house last season, and he really said out of his own mouth that he would play with his Bugs Bunny stuffed animal versus Stacey. I said, Stacey, where'd you find this man at? A mess. A year without rain, honey. So she says it was dry, but now it's raining. I said, oh, okay, Stacey. So now Stacey says that her and her man have fun. So she says that a lot has changed in their relationship, but their devotion to their daughter has not. They're both there for Arabella. So now we see Tia arrive. So Tia's introducing herself to Thiemo. And Stacey says, it's a big deal because I don't just introduce anybody to my family. And Tia is new to the group. She hasn't made any judgments about me. So now Stacey says that Thiemo is very hesitant of meeting the group. He's very much aware of what's happened in this group. And we all know that these husbands on Potomac, they will be lied on in a heartbeat. All right. Cue what happened to Eddie Osefo, with Deborah, Ashley's raggedy friend, saying that he touched her, whatever she said about him, or he was flirting with her. And then cue what happened to Chris Bassett. So we know the husbands will get torn up. So I understand why he's hesitant to be around this group. All right. So now, Tia goes on to ask if they're free tomorrow night because she wants to do a triple date with her husband, Wendy and Eddie, and Stacey and her husband. So Thiemo says, well, I can't make it because I have to fly out tomorrow. And Tia's like, oh, well, how long are you in town for? So Thiemo says, just today. So Tia says, oh, man, I was hoping that you'd be back in time and be able to come to Gizelle's event on Saturday. So Stacey says, oh, yeah, I don't think he's back until next week. So now Stacey's like, well, are you bringing your husband to the Gizelle's party? And Tia says, yes. So Stacey goes on to ask if it could be a threesome, if she can tag along with Tia and Rob. And Tia's like, yeah, that's fine. Shouldn't be a problem. That's cool with me. So now Stacey tells Thiemo that Tia is Nigerian, British, and she comes from royalty. She's a princess. So now Tia goes on to ask Thiemo if he wants to meet the other ladies. So Stacey says, no, that's why you're here today, to meet Thiemo one-on-one by yourself. So Stacey says, look, I'm friendly, but I'm not stupid. I said, girl, we know you're very calculated, honey. We know that. Like, this whole ditzy act is just that. It's an act. So she says there's a history with the other ladies. And now Tia goes on to ask her, how did she feel meeting Monique? And was it her first time meeting Monique? So Stacey says, oh, yeah, that was my first time. And Monique is great. So Tia says that she's Sherlock Holmes today. This is her moment to find out information. She says, I've reserved the benefit of the doubt with Stacey. And now we see Thiemo head out to go. He was obviously uncomfortable, with the cameras and Tia being there. You could tell that he was a bit nervous, right? So he leaves. So Tia says, yeah, Thiemo is like, I'm not messing around with any of you guys. He's like a German shepherd. So now Tia says, well, back to Monique. And Stacey says, yes, Monique does seem really great. I can't wait to get to know her better. So now Tia says, it sounds like she's been through a lot. It was really kind of her to be vulnerable and share some of her personal details. So now Tia goes on to ask if Stacey knows Chris. And Stacey says, I know him socially. That's it. So now Tia goes on to ask her if he's ever talked to her about his divorce. And Stacey says, nope, we just know each other. He's a really nice guy, just as Monique is lovely. Now, I don't know if it was just me, but Stacey looked a bit nervous when Tia was questioning her. And I'm sorry, Stacey, but it did look like you were not telling the truth. Like you were too, like, her eyes are all shifty. Her eyes are like moving like this. Did anybody else get that feeling that Stacey wasn't being honest? Yes, she was very nervous. Very nervous. You said Tia is desperate as hell. Yes, he's a business exec. He does not want the drama. She did look nervous. Stacey was lying like hell, LOL. Tia wasn't being messy. She was trying to figure out the story. Maybe because her husband was there. Oh, what? The people have said that he doesn't have a job anymore. I don't know if it's true, but they said he doesn't work for Audi anymore. Oh my gosh. Well, if that's the case, I really hope that's not the case. I would hate for anybody to lose their good job and during this time. He was like the SVP over at Audi too. Oh, I hope. Well, if that's the case, and Stacey's gonna have to, carry the household. Oh, that's sad. That's sad if that's the truth. I thought Stacey was annoyed. Oh, he's on the Audi website as of yesterday. I looked. Oh, okay. Okay, so he's still working at Audi. Okay. He still has a job per LinkedIn. You said, who are these people? Who are the people? Probably Keiarna and her team lying on that man, saying that he's jobless. But y'all are saying that he still has his job, and that's good. So now Tia says her heart sinks because she can't believe Stacey. The benefit of the doubt for Stacey is turning into ashes. So Tia says, well, it's a shame that Thiemo can't come to Gizelle's event. And Stacey says, I want to be completely honest with you, but I don't know that he's at that level to commit yet in terms of meeting everybody else. And that's fair. This group is a lot. This show is a lot. People's lives get turned upside down for the worst joining these shows. So I get why he'd be nervous and hesitant to even show up on camera and meet these women. Who wants to get lied on? Who wants that? Where all of a sudden now you had a great job and now you're out of the job because you appeared on this show with your wife. A mess. So I get why he's reserved and is not dying to meet any of them. I get that. So now Tia says, Stacey says, maybe when Gizelle introduces us to her boyfriend, I'll introduce them to Thiemo. So Tia is so quick with it. She says, oh, I guess we're waiting for pigs to fly then. I said, not Tia clocking how Gizelle always has some mystery man every season too. So now we cut to Gizelle. She's at the rooftop bar where her party's going to be held on Saturday. She's going over the final details with her event planner. We see Grace there, and we find out that Grace is working for the event planner over the summer. So now we find out that Gizelle is going to be giving the toast, and Robin will not be coming. She says, I'm shocked. I just found out today. If I'm being truly honest, Robin does not want to come because she feels a certain way on how she left the show. And I respect that, but I do have to say that it's not a good look and it's not a good feeling. Now, let me say this. Robin, I understand that leaving, getting fired from Housewives, it does hurt the ego. Every housewife who has left the show, they were fired, by the way, except for like Garcelle, LVP, like very few of the housewives have left on their own accord, right? Majority of them have been fired. But I say all that to say, I still feel like you should have come. That is a bad look to not want to celebrate your achievement. And also, Robin, I heard through the grapevine, Kempire broke the news a long time ago that they had offered you allegedly a friend of contract, and you turned it down because your ego won't allow you to be a friend of, allegedly. But I'm just kind of like, girl, I think it's pathetic that you don't want to come on the show just to celebrate your accomplishment. That's ridiculous. So I read Not All Diamonds and Rosé, the tell-all book about the Housewives. And yes, in the book stated that she was fired. And they allowed all the fired housewives to say, I'm leaving. But the truth is that no, they were fired. But Bravo is kind enough to say, you can say that you left on your own accord, but we're actually firing you. So yes, in the book, they said that she was flat out fired, but she was allowed to say, I'm leaving, I'm walking away. So, and I'm not, with what happened in season 5, that shouldn't be a surprise. But yes, the book said that she was fired. I believe it. She's back now making her money. So it is what it is. So one of y'all just name somebody. I'll say this. I heard that it was a mutual agreement. They wanted her to go, but she was also ready to go too. Like she was tired of the nonsense and they were also tired. So it was like a mutual thing where it was like, okay, well, I quit. And they were like, okay, well, we were going to let you go anyway. We weren't going to renew your contract. That's what I had heard through the grapevine. Allegedly. Okay. Yes. I think a friend of contract is actually the best because it's part-time. You don't have to expose that much about your life and you get a nice check. Y'all don't understand. You get a nice bag from a friend of contract. Marlo on Atlanta, she was making $275, $375 when she was a friend of. Yes, her pay got bumped up when she became full-time, but you still make great money as a friend of. And you don't have to share your life. You don't have to be a part of the drama if you don't want to be. You get all the perks of being a housewife. You just don't get the tagline. They fly you out for BravoCon. You're still a Bravo celebrity. So I just feel like it's so stupid to not want to be a friend of, in my opinion. But it's an ego thing for a lot of these women. They feel like if they can't be full-time again, then they'd rather just not take it, which is so stupid, but whatever. So, it's a very nice check. It's a very nice check. Yeah, Cynthia and Adriana have shown the best way to be a friend of. I agree. Okay. So anyway, where were we? So now Gizelle says all the women are coming with their significant others, but how do we feel about Stacey? Part of me wants to uninvite her because she called Chris Samuels after we left the parade, right? And all the girls are mad at her. So my thing is this, Gizelle. This whole hazing of Stacey Rush is backfiring. You've already invited the woman. Just keep her on the guest list. Also, I'm sorry, Gizelle, but when you were kikiing and laughing and chopping it up with Mia, of all people, Mia lied all the time. You thought it was the funniest thing. You just loved Miss Mia the liar. If you can be okay with Mia, you can be okay with Stacey and her white lies. I'm just saying, I just don't understand all this smoke for Stacey when you dealt with a habitual liar who was actually, she was a very violent liar too. Because I'll never forget how she assaulted Wendy in season 7, and there was no there was no disciplinary action whatsoever. Still came back a hot mess. But I feel like if you could give Mia grace and let her slide for all of her harmful lies, you can let Stacey slide. And Mia's lies were harmful. She lied on her children. So please, enough. This is beyond hazing. This is low-key torture. I agree. Mia, the sofa bed thief, honey. The love seat thief, honey. The love seat, honey. Wait, what did Nadira say in the last chat? She said, with that mangy cat. Mia Pimp Village Thornton, the furniture thief, okay? Jizzy's just mad that Stacey's coming for her spot, all right? So now we jump to the dinner date scene with Tia, Rob, and Wendy and Eddie. Now, Wendy, the finger waves, we've never seen you with such like a shortcut. The finger waves actually suited Wendy. I thought that was a really cute look. I was like, Wendy, that's actually really cute. I like that. Again, Wendy, it's painful for me on several different levels that this is the time that you decide to have the best season. You decide to have the best season now. Like, this is really her best season, I feel, with everything. Like that, the finger waves are really, yes, the finger waves were everything. I was here for it. She looked really good. So now we have Eddie. He peeps Tia's accent. He's like, where are you from, Tia? I hear an accent. Tia says, I'm from London, but I was born in Nigeria. So Eddie says that he's been to Nigeria, but he's never lived there. So now Tia says that she's more Nigerian than he is. She has more street cred. They laugh about that. That was cute. So Wendy says that she really enjoys Tia. She connects with her because they're both Nigerian. We see some unseen footage of when Tia and Wendy went out to lunch the other day, and they're bonding over being Nigerian. I think Wendy said that she was born in Nigeria, if I heard her correctly. But a cute scene, and you could tell they really do have a connection. So now Eddie's asking how long they've been married. Tia says 17 years for us. Eddie says 14 years for us. So now Tia says that we've known each other since 98. When I tell you, Eddie had me screaming because he definitely had an inside thought that escaped his lips when he was like, wait, 98? He said, so how old are you? He said, oh, I don't mean to ask a woman's age, but like, my God, like 98? Like, well, like, damn. Eddie had me screaming. He was like, wait, like, were you like 40 in 98? Like, girl, what? Eddie had me hollering at that part. He was just like, girl, like, how old are you? Like, what? And he caught himself like, I know you can't ask a woman's age, but still, like, girl, like, again. Now, hold on. I watched the after show because Tia said that she lied about her age. She says that she was 19. So, according to Tia on the after show, Rob is 8 years older than her because she said that he was 27 when they met. And she was 19, but she told him that she was 21. So yeah, so I don't know the timeline of how old they were back in 98. Child, I can't do the math. So Tia is between 48 and 55. Oh, okay. Okay. So you said you're not believing Tia. You said Tia is in her 50s. Appear to me. Rob looks good because he doesn't look a decade older than her. Yeah, he doesn't. I thought they were the same age. He doesn't look almost a decade older than her either. So now Eddie says, no. Then Tia admits that she used to also lie and tell people that she was half Cuban because it sounded exotic. She says that's what happens when you send a kid to an all-white boarding school. I said, now, Tia, I don't know if I would have revealed that, but I'm glad that we're past that. I'm glad that we have pride in being Black, so that's great. But I don't know if I would have revealed that if I were you. So now we find out from Eddie and Wendy that they've known each other since they were 17. Eddie says she was not checking for me at all. And Wendy says, yeah, I was, and he didn't have a car. So now she says, when I saw him in college, I was like, oh, he's a man and he has a car. So now Wendy's like, how long have you guys lived in the DMV? Tia says 5 years. So now Eddie's like, oh, so did you guys come from Chicago? We all know that Rob is from Chicago. He's from the South Side. Now, I thought that this was very strange because Tia says, I've never been to Chicago. I said, what? You've been married to this man for 17 years. You've never been to Chicago. You've never been to his city. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Rob, your answer made no sense either. When you said, because people can smell when you're not from there, they're going to try you. I said, sir, please. First of all, to all my Chicago subscribers in the chat, y'all know I used to live in Chicago. I went to school in Chicago. Okay, baby, I consider Chicago like a second home. Listen, Chicago is a beautiful city. And even if he didn't want to take her to the South Side where he's from, you guys can go downtown, Michigan Avenue, Gold Coast. Like, y'all could go. I'm sorry. That doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, that whole response made no sense. I said, wait, what? Chicago is a gorgeous city. Y'all can hang out in the West Loop. Tia, there's all that shopping all that designer shopping. You guys can stay right there at the Ritz-Carlton, right off of Michigan, or the Waldorf Astoria. Like, what are we talking about? It's not clicking for me. I just said, I don't know how you are married to somebody who's from Chicago for 17 years and you've never been there. Like, I said, Rob, what are you hiding? Because why don't you want her to go to Chicago and see where you're from? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Dinner on Navy Pier, exactly. He got ran out of Chicago. Do you know this for a fact? Is this true? Child, let him know, Brooke. I'm serious. But you don't even have to go back to your old neighborhood if you don't want to. Like, if he's worried about safety, just go downtown. At least take her to Chicago. Go to Illuminati's right there, Giordano's. Like, you can go downtown. What? You don't have to go. Like, I don't know. I was very confused by that whole thing. It doesn't make any sense. I moved to Chicago almost 4 years ago. I'm having the best time of my life here. No, it's beautiful. Chicago's fab. Fab. I think he was born in Chicago, but probably not raised. Like, I was born in Chicago, but I know nothing about the different cities. If he was from Chicago, he would go back for the food. Exactly. Yeah, like I hate that. I'm like, people sound so ignorant when they say that. I'm just like, you do know that there's more to Chicago than just one neighborhood, right? Like people sound so ignorant when they say that. Chicago, well, there's so many different neighborhoods. There's so much wealth in Chicago. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm confused. Oh my gosh, summertime in Chicago. Stop it. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, you said let it play out. Chicago's stunning. He's probably from Harvey. I went to Chicago for Cowboy Carter and enjoyed myself. Maybe Chicago is home, but he moved a lot. I just said, like, let me find out that he's from maybe he's from Gary, Indiana or something. I don't know. Maybe he's from Indiana. He's claiming Chicago, but he's really from Indiana. No shade to the girls in Indiana. I'm just saying maybe it's that. Maybe he's from Wisconsin. Maybe he was on the border of Illinois and Wisconsin. I don't know. It's not clicking for me. So, you know, you said I wouldn't take nobody to Gary. You know? let me get off of that before the Indiana girls get mad at me, honey. They're in my comments mad at me, honey. So let me yes, honey, Chicago is worldwide. Okay. So he's from Joliet. Let me just move on. Yes, honey. That the haters are gonna try it, honey. The haters are they're just itching to say something today. Yes, he's from Waukegan, exactly. Okay. So now, Tia says that she invited Stacey and Thiemo to join them tonight. Wendy's like, well, why isn't she here? So Tia says that she told me that Thiemo's out the country, so he couldn't make it. But she also told me that out of everybody in the group, I was the safest to be around. So Wendy is annoyed. She's like, wait, she told you what? So she goes on to say, you just met Tia, the same Tia who is yet to stick up for you, but you want to say that she's the safest? Like, really? So Wendy is like, you know what? Let me get Stacey on this phone. Wendy calls up Stacey. She says, hey, girl, we're here on the double date. I was told that you're supposed to be here. What happened? So Stacey says Thiemo wasn't quite ready for such a big introduction, so we had to pass this time. So now Tia whispers and says, but she told me that he was out the country, so which one is it? So Wendy whispers and says she's lying. So now Tia jumps in and says, I just told Wendy that the reason you weren't here was due to Thiemo being out the country. So Stacey says, oh, yeah, he just flew in today. He got here this evening. I says, now, Stacey, my good sis, I can't defend you on this one. Why would you lie like this? You just told her yesterday that he couldn't make it. He was out of the country. Now, all of a sudden, so he went out of the country for a day, for less than 24 hours. What are we talking about? I said, Stacey, please stop. Please stop. I said, just be honest and say that he didn't want to come and you didn't want to introduce him to anybody else. Just say that. So now Wendy says, well, Stacey, Tia just told me that you told her that she's the safest person out of everybody in the group. I feel like you've not been the type of friend to me that I've been to you. So Stacey's like, no. And then she says, Tia, I really don't appreciate how you're causing friction between Wendy and I. So Tia says, no, darling, you're creating your own friction because you can't keep up with your stories. So now Stacey does apologize to Wendy and she says, Wendy, I regret introducing Thiemo to Tia first, and I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings. So Tia's like, she's just so full of it. And Wendy says, you know what, Stacey, it's okay. We're going to have a great time. Talk to you soon. So she hangs up the phone. And Tia's just like, you know what? She's full of it. Like, I can't. So she says, here I am like an idiot defending you. And now Wendy's like, well, what else happened? Like anything new? So now Tia says the other day, she went out to Philippe Chow for lunch and with Angel and Keiarna and Ashley. And Angel mentioned that she felt like they were not in a good place, Angel and Wendy. So we cut to the flashback of their lunch at Philippe Chow. And we hear Angel saying that Wendy was rude to her at the airport, dismissive, no eye contact. And she says that the person who made the catfish comment was Wendy and not Gizelle. Now, Angel, in all seriousness, I need for this to be the last time you bring up the catfish incident. It's enough already. Second of all, now we're at the point where you're mixing up what really happened. I understand that you don't see it for Wendy. Fine. But let's not rewrite history. Wendy was only cackling in the background. She did not say the catfish comment. That came out of Gizelle Bryant's mouth. Gizelle said, Angel, you're a pretty girl, but I'm not seeing the woman that I see on the pictures is not the woman I see sitting in front of me. It's giving catfish. Wendy was in the background laughing, but she was not the one who said that you were the catfish. Again, I have to be fair. Also, Angel, if you were this upset with Wendy, first of all, you had already made peace with Wendy when you guys celebrated her birthday after that dinner. Y'all were, playing patty cake. You gave each other a hug. I thought that this was done and over with. Angel, let this be the final time we hear about this. Please. And then to hear about this for the fourth episode straight. And on top of that, now we're getting the details mixed up. Oh my gosh. Angel, if I hear catfish in the next episode, I'm going to get in front of this camera and I'm going to start screaming like a nut. I promise you. Please don't let this be the last time. Please. Please. So now Tia says she thinks that you ignored her at the airport. Wendy says that's not true. She says, in Nevis, I thought Gizelle said the whole catfish thing, but she said you said it first. So Wendy says that's not true. Gizelle said it first, not me. And they play the tapes back. We see that Gizelle did say it first. Wendy did not say it, like I said. So Wendy says, so she has a problem doing that, but no problem with the person who said that to her face. She attacks me every chance she gets. She says, Keiarna and Angel are obsessed. They need that validation. Grown women don't argue about stuff like this. Well, now, Wendy, that's not true. That is not true. Y'all argue about silly stuff all the time. We've heard sillier, we've run the gamut of silly stuff. So I wouldn't say all that because you guys have argued about the dumbest stuff. But I need this to be the last time. Okay? Enough. Let's dead this. Please. Because when I tell you I'm tired. So now she says Nevis was weeks ago. Girl, F you and that camouflage. So now Eddie says it should be a fun event. The husbands get together. We never get kicked out. So Tia says it's going to be you guys, me and Rob. Bobby's going to be Angel and Bobby. And so Rob, but obviously Thiemo isn't coming. So now Rob calls it out and he says, but wait, didn't Stacey just say that he just got in today? So Tia says she obviously thinks that I'm stupid. And now Rob's like, now where is she from again? And Tia says Detroit. So Wendy says, oh yeah, D-Town, they some hustlers out there. And I said, no, respectfully, Wendy, there are some hustlers in Finksburg, Maryland, as we see. So we got hustlers all over the world. Detroit, Maryland, everywhere. Atlanta with Miss Mia getting caught up stealing furniture. We got hustlers all around the world. Okay, the hustlers are worldwide. All right, baby. Everybody's hustling. Everybody's hustling, honey. Baby, everybody is hustling, trying to make it. All right. Hey, Robert Six, thank you for the super chat. Stacey had me screaming, walking over to stick her finger out again. Stacey is truly about that life. Detroit Stacey came through. Oh, absolutely. Hey, Narda 290, thank you for the super chat. Why did I enjoy Pam and Mr. Hennessy scenes? Shaking my head. No, I enjoyed them too. Listen, Wendy was giving us those finger waves look good. She was giving us a whole lot, honey. I was here for it. I said, okay, come. I said, listen, I can always give the girls their credit, no matter how I feel about them. Wendy is having her best season yet, and her and Eddie in this episode, they were a 10 out of 10. Eddie's reactions regarding Tia's age had me screaming. I was here for it all. Hey, Kadaya Torre, thank you for the super chat. I need you to drag that greasy cookie lady Brooke. Oh, you know I am. You know it's coming. You just sit tight. Hey, Emperor Ward, thank you for the super chat. Aretha Franklin, aka Cookie, have a criminal fraud background. Google it. Yes, I saw it. Cookie has some charges. Cookie has some charges on her. I said, oh, Cookie, why does Bravo even have her on the show? A big fraud, honey. She has all those charges against her. A mess. I would not have her in my house. A mess. She saw the rumor about Irena cheating on Jamie on Love and Marriage DC. Oh, she's behind that? Oh, that's crazy. But I will say this, though. Wasn't Jamie cheating on her, though? So if she did cheat back, I don't feel any way about it. Because wasn't he a big cheater? And he just stopped cheating? A mess. Hey, Kadaya Torre, thank you for the super chat. I always knew Robin was a fool. Hey, sweet honey X, thank you for the super chat. Wendy is strategic with interpersonal relationships. She embraced Tia with open arms because she is Nigerian royalty, wanted nothing to do with NECA. Ciao. Hey, Kadaya 2, thank you for the super chat. Brooke, prepare yourself to scream next recap. I'm going to be screaming, okay? Oh my gosh. You said she looks like she steals toilet paper from the dollar store. Goodness gracious. Child. A mess. Oh my gosh. Yes, Cookie is a liar. I don't care. LOL. I agree. You said, please leave the Queen of Soul out of this Cookie business. So now we see it is the day of Gizelle's reasonably shady 10 million downloads party. Everybody's pulling up. We see Angel and Bobby, Keiarna, Tia, Jazzy and Darius are all there. We see Sharice there. We have Gizelle asking about Stacey, if they've seen her. Keiarna says, yeah, I haven't seen her. And Tia says, well, actually, I talked to her the day before last night when I went out to dinner with Wendy. She says, I had invited Thiemo, and she told me that he'd be flying out that night, so he couldn't make it. Then at dinner, I call her up, and she tells me that he had just flown in. So Gizelle says the lies are real. So now we see Rob, Tia's husband, complimenting Gizelle on her podcast. And he says, I have a podcast idea too. So he said, I'll talk to you about it later. So now he walks off, and we see Angel and Gizelle talking. So Angel's like, Gizelle, are you using the fan that I got you? And she says, yes, I am. So now Angel says, I just want to know how we can get to know each other better. Gizelle says, yeah, because it's been some problems. And Angel says, yeah, you've already apologized and I moved past it. Now, Angel, you haven't moved past it, because if you had moved past it, you wouldn't be bringing this up right now. So she says, I feel like Wendy's saying that she's calling you a catfish. Wait, hold on. Sorry. No, Angel says, I haven't addressed Wendy's part in it. I feel like Wendy saying she's calling you a catfish, ha ha ha, is an example of our interactions and how they've devolved into a mercurial nature. Now, Gizelle had me in tears. Gizelle was so confused. She said, can somebody give me the definition of mercurial, please? I don't even know what that means. What is she talking about? She said, Angel has a delayed reaction to everything that we do. And I don't care about her right now because I'm celebrating me. Now, Angel, again, you've got to let this go. On top of that, Why are we bringing this up at somebody's celebration for their podcast? Y'all know me. I'm a big believer in letting people have their moments. Don't come to folks with some nonsense. Let Gizelle enjoy her moment, please. It's just a mess. Yes, Gizelle also did not know what dubious meant when Ashley used that word. Yes, she sure did. She was like, but what does that mean in the first episode of this season? I just said, again, Angel, I'm confused as to what we're mad about. The catfish thing happened episode 4. We're now on episode 8, about to be on episode 9. More than halfway into the season. Enough. Let's dead the whole issue. So now we see Wale show up with flowers. If you don't know, Wale was one of the contestants on Love Hotel. Gizelle and Ashley were on that show trying to find love. And he was one of Ashley's suitors, right? Like, he was in the top 2. And she ended up picking the older guy over Wale, and he was really upset about it. Wale was obviously, I guess, being petty. He comes in with flowers for Gizelle. Ashley was so pressed about it. I said, no, Ashley, you're dating Josh. You did not pick Wale. So why are you so upset about seeing Wale? She's talking about, oh, yeah, he's pulling up, his fake love is just as fake as that grill in his mouth. I said, Ashley, stop it. You're out here wearing fake clothes. Stop. And you want to talk about somebody else with a fake grill in their mouth. He was invited for some buzz. It was there for a dramatic moment. That's all that was. Gizelle knew that it was going to spice things up and, give a little moment to her and her party. That's all that was. That was just for attention. You said can't even walk in heels. Wale went there to get under Ashley's skin, though. Oh, absolutely. You said, Ashley, shut up, because Ashley needs a storyline. So now, Wale does say hello to her. They exchange pleasantries. It's awkward. So now we have Stacey, Eddie, and Wendy pull up. And we do see Angel when they arrive. Angel already seems annoyed at Wendy being there, right? So we see Stacey saying hi to everybody. Remember Vivian, Karen's friend Vivian from last season, who's been trying to get on the show for a long time. Vivian is there too. So Stacey says hi to Vivian, real dry, real nice, nasty. She says, let's talk. She says, seeing Vivian here is neither here nor there, but I've let that friendship go already, but I can always keep it classy. Now, Stacey ate down. Stacey, when you said, I'll patch your hair down and send you on your way. I said, girl, not. And the way she fell all over, like she was petting Vivian like a dog, I screamed. I said, Stacey, no, you didn't. Not you pet that woman like a dog and went about your business. I was screaming. Stacey had me in tears with that moment, honey. That was so nice and shady. She said, I will patch your hair down and send you on your way, honey. Yes, she gave her that look. Stacey ate down. That head pat was so petty. It sure was. Did a whole demonstration for the class. She sure did, honey. We saw Vivian's shadow. They didn't even show her face, only her back, okay? Honey, they showed Vivian's small back, honey. She said they gave her that back, honey. Production didn't even bother to show her face. They said, no, girl, we're only gonna give you your back. A mess. Stacey had me screaming, honey. I bow to the QVC queen, very Kenya Moore coded. I won't trust another hair pat from it now on. Y'all are screaming. They gave Vivian the Mr. Wilson treatment, didn't even show her face. Oh my gosh. They cut her out like the First Lady of Maryland. Child. Oh my gosh, honey. That pageant shade. Oh, that is pageant shade at its finest for sure. Baby, I'm gonna do that next time. I'm gonna pat you on your hair and be like, oh, you look good, honey. Pat you on your No check for a back shot, okay? Oh my gosh. Chopped and cropped. Y'all have me screaming, honey. You guys have me screaming. Vivian was Wizard Kelly, honey. She sure was. Baby, pat her down real good, okay? Damn. Okay. I would be too done if somebody did that to me. I would be done. I would just walk out the party. Because what do you mean? You want to give me that nice, nasty, like, well, bless your heart, honey, and pat it down. Yes, Stacey did sun her. She did. Okay. They showed a corner of Charisse, a mess. Child, Vivian didn't have a microphone. She leaned on Stacey. Yes, honey, she wanted to be heard, honey. All right, y'all. So, she leaves. She walks away from Vivian. So now we cut to Wendy and Gizelle. She says that she's proud of Gizelle. Gizelle says thank you. And now we see Gizelle gives a speech. So Gizelle addresses Robin not being there. She says something came up. So sorry. Wendy says this makes no sense. Don't have us thinking that we're going to see the Supremes and it's just Diana Ross. Where's your backup singer? Where's the rest of the group, Gizelle? She says, where's Rob? Is she on the couch? I said, damn. Now, hold on. I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting that Robin and Wendy still aren't good in real time. So my thought was, do you think that Robin also didn't want to come because she didn't want to see Wendy? Is that what it is? I don't know. Maybe could that be an option? Could that be something? I don't know. I know Robin was pissed at this scene. Robin at home on the couch with Juan. They ate Robin up despite her not showing up. Yes. I think that, I feel like maybe that could have been another reason why she didn't come. Robin would not have gotten paid to show up. But I feel like, think about this. I feel like, I don't know if that's true because it's not like Robin is a Vivian or a Cookie. Robin was a full-time cast member. And I feel like when you're full-time and you get demoted or you get fired, I feel like you can still get paid. I think that Charisse still gets paid a little something. Not saying that it's a whole lot, but I believe that once you are full-time and you come back on and do a little like guest spots, you still get something. I think that Robin would have gotten the day rate and, a gas card. I feel she would have gotten something had she filmed this scene, in my opinion. So I don't know, maybe. Yeah, even Charisse was there. Yeah, I think Charisse still gets something. A quick little 200. Oh, you said not 200, honey. Hey, the life of Samad. Thank you for the super chat. Wendy snubbed Nneka to save face. Old history. Nneka was ready to spill. Kind of wish she stayed to tell it all. Ciao. So you said back to square one. I think it's embarrassing for her to not be in the group but on camera. You said not a gas card. I'm serious. She would have gotten a Peacock subscription. $50 and a pack of sour gummy worms. A day rate and $100 Walmart gift card. So now, Jazzy says, girl, get up off the couch. Ashley says, I'll never understand it. She says, deep down, I know Gizelle wants her homegirl to be there to celebrate this momentous occasion. But Gizelle is saving face. So, baby, as the party's going on, we see Cookie arrive. Child, again, you can just feel the thirst oozing from Cookie's pores. So now we see Wendy, Tia, and Stacey go off to the side to talk and clear things up. And one thing about this group, anytime somebody wants to have a one-on-one, the whole group has to be nosy and messy and intrude in the conversation. So Stacey, so they all walk over to listen to what's going on. So Stacey says, I want to rehash last night. I feel like when we talk, it's one way. And when you're in the group, it's another way to Tia. So Tia says, when I first met you, Stacey, I heard a lot about you. I didn't want to form an opinion off of what I heard. I took the time to get to know you. I really tried to toe the line until I could discover how you move. I left my house at 5 a.m. to meet you and your husband and your daughter because I'm interested, or should I say I was interested in having a friendship with you. Now, respectfully, I don't want to meet somebody's husband that bad because I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. to meet you or anybody. Respectfully, respectfully, I said, Tia, you're a better woman than I am because I wouldn't be waking up at 5 a.m. to meet Stacey's family. Like, we can meet at 5 p.m. for dinner, early lunch, but 5 a.m., I don't think so. You said, what was Tia on? So Stacey says, you invited my husband to dinner. He politely declined. He said no. Tia says, he said he was flying out the evening of the dinner from what I understood. Stacey says, no, he was flying out on Wednesday evening. They play the flashback and Stacey and her husband clearly say that he's flying out that night. Stacey, I got to just say, you're not being honest because you and your husband did say that he was flying out the night of it. So you did just own up to it. You didn't tell the truth. Just saying. So now, Stacey says, the problem with you, and Tia says, there's no effing problem with me. Tia says, everyone who has seen you has called you a liar. I've given you the benefit of the doubt. You thought I was foolish. Don't let this accent fool you. Now, Tia, I don't mean to be funny, but I thought you were doing a little bit much. I just feel like Stacey does not give you that rah, rah, rah energy. So you look foolish, yelling and cursing and doing all of this to Stacey. Like, you look dumb. And Stacey, even if she is lying, she clears y'all just off of the fact that she remains so calm and so collected. You know what I'm saying? So now Stacey starts clapping and she says, bravo, baby. Like, bravo, girl. You did that. Like, bravo. I'm loving this performance. So you have Gizelle saying, oh my gosh, that's so rude. I said, now, Gizelle, let me just get you together quickly. Don't you ever say what's rude and what's not rude. You're the same woman who laughed in Wendy's face with Robin when she got assaulted in season 7. Don't you dare. The same woman who said, well, I don't care that Wendy got assaulted because I don't like her. All right? That's rude. That's nasty. Then on top of that, when Candace was crying about the dissolution of your friendship in season 8 at that reunion, and you were like, tears, 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 tears. That's rude as hell. So how dare you say, oh, to somebody else that that's rude? No, girl, you've been rude for a long time. So not too much. Not too much, Gizelle. Not too much. So now Tia says that I thought she was a friend about Stacey, but she's actually a foe. Now that's a bit much to say that she's a foe. Stacey has not threatened you. She's not harmed you. She told a white lie. It is what it is. But don't act like she's some mortal sworn enemy that you just can't stand. Like a mess. Yes, Stacey lied, but it wasn't that deep. Exactly. Gizelle's the rudest one if we really want to go there. Exactly. Exactly. So now Keiarna jumps in. And of course, Keiarna is always on 10 for no reason. And she says, let's talk about what real friends do. Last week, I thought it was amazing that Monique shared her story of her healing journey. 10 minutes later, I'm on the phone with Cookie, and on the other line, Chris Samuels called in. She clicked back over and told me that you called Chris and told him that Monique was trashing him, saying that he treated her like a piece of meat and that he had bad sex. So Stacey's like, girl, what are you talking about? So Wendy's like, well, Keiarna, how do you know it was Stacey? So Keiarna says, I know it was her. So Stacey's still denying it. And Keiarna says, bring Cookie over. She's right there. So of course, Cookie walks over. Cookie's already on 100. And Cookie's like, you called him and told him, don't act stupid with me. So now Wendy's like, this makes me uncomfortable because I met with Monique the other day and she told me that if Cookie is around, Cookie will trash her. So now she says, if we're talking about Monique, it's only right for Monique to be here. And I agree with that, Wendy. So now Stacey had me on the floor. Stacey points at Cookie, and it wasn't like she pointed in her face. She pointed like this, right? Like Cookie was still a good like 2-3 feet away from her. So Cookie was nowhere near, like, Cookie wasn't, it wasn't like she did it like that, right? She did it like that. So Cookie says, "Don't put your finger at me." And she's acting like she wants to fight. So Keiarna's like, "Cookie, calm down, relax." And so Stacey keeps putting her finger at her like this. She's like this, like. So Cookie says, "Do it one more time." I said, "Cookie, you know you look and sound ridiculous, right? You look and sound ridiculous. You look and sound foolish. If I'm trying to be nice, you look a mess. If I'm keeping it a buck, you look a mess." She's all sweaty and disheveled, the wig sticking to her forehead. I'm just like, "Girl, I just said, Cookie, please stop making a scene. It's not that deep. You obviously want attention. Stop." Yeah, she did way too much. Way too much. You said arch nemesis is giving Batman. So now Stacey says, "I can point my finger where I want to." I said, "I know that's right, Stacey." I said, "Stacey, let him know, Greg. Honk the horn on them, Greg. I was here for it." So now she walks over to Stacey. She walks over to Cookie. They're all trying to, separate Cookie and Stacey. So now Cookie says, you need to take a bath with your funky ass." I said, "Cookie, you know good and well that Stacey does not smell." That was such a weak read. I said, "Girl, that's a chop." I said, Cookie, you look ridiculous. You sound ridiculous. Talk about, and take a bath with your funky self. I said, "Girl, stop. You're the one over here perspiring. You're sweating. Sweating buckets, and you just got there, but you want to say that she's funky." I said, "Girl, stop." So now, and Cookie, I felt really sorry for you. The way security escorted you out of there, that was so embarrassing. You had other guests laughing at you as you're being escorted out. I said, "Don't you feel foolish? Don't you feel embarrassed? You did all that to be whisked out of the party, and now they're all laughing at you." A mess. You said thirst oozing out of her pores while looking like a hot mess. Y'all have me screaming in this chat. So now Keiarna says, Monique is talking about getting to a good space of co-parenting with her ex-husband. And Stacey says, "No matter how many times you say it, doesn't mean that it's true." So Keiarna says, "Guess what? Ain't shit you've said true since you've been in this damn group." I said, "Keiarna, why do you feel the need to curse at this woman? First of all, Keiarna, you don't have a dog in this fight. Why are you so invested?" It's like, Keiarna, you have this battery in your back. And I'm sorry, Keiarna, I know that we spoke at BravoCon. You were lovely. You were very sweet, beautiful, very beautiful in person. But I don't know if I'm buying the whole thing about production chopped and screwed stuff, because I'm sorry, Keiarna, it's not a good look on your part. Every single time it involves Stacey, you're the first one trying to attack her. It's weird. It's not adding up. Again, you don't have a dog in this fight. You're just now meeting Monique yourself. So why do you care so much? It doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. So now Stacey says, "The only time you get heated, baby, is when it's about me." And Stacey is right. And I'm sorry, Keiarna, Stacey was eating you up. She told nothing but the truth, because you only have this smoke when it's about Stacey and nobody else. And again, you have yet to let us know what the actual reason is for disliking Stacey. So now she says, "Usually you're at a 0, but today you maybe took it to a 2. And y'all caught how Charisse was trying not to laugh. I said, even the OGs know that was a good read. I was cracking up. I said, "Stacey, get her again. Whack her for me." Because I said, again, Keiarna, you're looking crazy. You're looking silly, in my opinion. So now Stacey says, "I'm so happy to see you, boo." And now Keiarna says, your character is flawed, Stacey, and I would never trust you around my husband. Now, why did Keiarna say that? I said, Keiarna, why did you set yourself up for failure? Stacey says, you don't have one. Baby, the way Wendy was trying not to laugh, I was in tears. I said, Stacey won. Stacey won. And I'm not saying that, and y'all know me. Y'all know I don't like those reads about, well, I have a man and you don't. That's not a read. Anybody can get a man. It's not an accomplishment, whatever. But in this case, in this context, Stacey ate down with that. Because Keiarna, what are you saying right now? What are you saying? And I'm pretty sure that Stacey does not want your man. I'm pretty sure that you're safe. You're safe. You know what kills me? You know what really takes me out? How you have some women who will really act like you want their man. And it's like, girl, I promise you, your man is safe. Nobody wants him. Nobody wants Leroy. Leroy is safe. I promise you. You're doing all that and nobody wants Leroy. I can promise you that. Kay is giving very much delusional. I said, Keiarna, you look real crazy right now, honey. Stacey don't want Greg in those feet. Exactly. Listen. Stacey does not do porn, Ashley, so why would she want Greg? Chris isn't even married. She set herself up for it. Stacey ate, baby. Stacey ate down. Kay needs to trust a bottle of lotion around Greg. Dust yourself off, Kay. Stacey ate all them up. Ciao. That's always how it goes. Low-key, the men be wanting you and you're just in your own world. That's always how it goes. That's always how it goes. Oh, and 9 times out of 10, that's how it goes. Okay? Baby, let me tell you something. Honey, Stacey ate down. Stacey ate down. And again, Stacey keeps gagging y'all because she keeps gathering y'all without having to curse at you or raise her voice. She is gathering y'all so calmly and so smoothly. That was a 10 out of 10, a flawless finish. We see Keiarna's face. Keiarna's face was stuck. And now we see to be continued. And that's the end of the episode. But baby, when I tell you the Potomac girls are working, Stacey is head of the class right now. Nobody's seeing Stacey. It's Stacey is killing it. And it's also Wendy's best season. I don't make the rules. I have to call it the way I see it. This is Wendy's best season, and Stacey's also eating down, period. Stacey is the MVP. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Mark this episode as the episode Stacey took over the show. Oh, absolutely. No, this is her moment right now. This is Stacey's world, and we're all just living in it right now. Like Stacey ate. Stacey ate. Her honey, Stacey ate. Kay was so gagged. Hey, SQH9165. Thank you for the super chat. Stacey was jumped. Tia, Keiarna, Cookie Crumbs walked away with her wig, her pride, and her flawlessly beat face. To quote Nene, is getting weird. Exactly. Hey, Kadaya Tutore. Thank you for the super chat. Wendy had her back like a real sister. Hey, thank you for the super chat. Hey, Princess versus Princess. Thank you for the super chat. And Cookie, you look like you got up and out the hairstyles chair about 10 minutes into the service. Y'all have me screaming, please. Hey, Stephen Nieves. Thank you for the super chat. Stacey delivered a TKO in the final scene. Oh, absolutely. No, that was the ultimate TKO. I said, Keiarna, get up. I said, get up. Where was the referee to say, Stacey, Keiarna, get up, babe, get up. The fight's over. She won. Baby, she won that. She won that round. She won that round. That's one of those reads where you have to just pick your face up off the floor. When Nene said, I took my eyeballs out my sockets, put them in my purse, and drove home blind. That's one of those reads where you have to pick your pride up, put it in your purse, and just drive home and cry. That's one of those car rides where you drive home in silence because you got whooped. That like the reading was just that good. The reading was that bad that it took you out. You had to drive home in silence. I know she drove home in silence that night. I know it was a silent ride back to Baltimore. I know that was a silent ride from Georgetown to Baltimore. I know that was a silent ride. Silent. Silent, honey. Hey, Cassandra Perez, thank you for the super chat. Stacey's emotional intelligence needs to be studied. If that's a result of Shayo, I need a palate full. Exactly, okay? You said silent night, honey. It was a silent night. Crying night, okay? Oh my gosh. The real gag would have been if Stacey wiped the floor with Cookie. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Now that would have been something. You said she went home to fight with Greg and his ashy feet, silently staring at her naked ring finger. And where was Greg to back her up? He was in Baltimore. I was gonna say looking ass. You said she was about to. Now that would have been something. Child. Stacey's really made the season. Oh, absolutely. Kay is a fool to keep getting chewed up by Stacey. I agree. Jazzy said she told her she's not scared of Cookie. Slow walking, tears flowing, flower tossing. Okay, honey, that's one of those reads where it's some slow singing and flower bringing. Okay. Oh my gosh. You said Stacey ate Aretha right on up. They worried about Thiemo coming. He ain't coming. And Kay looks crazy every episode. Child, a mess. I kind of feel like Stacey can fight. I agree. I think, listen, it's always the silent ones. Listen, just like anything in this world, when folks got to tell you, I can fight, they usually can't. Honey, listen, they usually can't. The loudest one in the room is usually the weakest and the brokest, generally speaking. And Cookie is good and loud with a lot of nonsense. So I'm sure. And she has all those charges. So fraudulent. We know she's very fraudulent and lying about she's somebody's child. A mess. Bravo must have paid Cookie with a pack of Newports. Oh my, not a barbecue. Damn. Stacey probably got a black belt. Okay. You said not day after day. I am screaming. Stacey, an undercover freak and a fighter. Okay, exactly. Child, Stacey be lying and eating them up, okay? Stacey put Kay on a leash and walked her. You said not a pack of Newports, honey. Child, the little ones jump on backs. You said and claw out eyes. Not Cookie rolling up with her house clothes to an event calling my girl Stacey funky. Yeah, that set it off the soundtrack. I'm screaming so loud right now. Oh my gosh. Y'all have me scream. You say here it is was diabolical. Y'all are in this chat. Y'all are in this chat cutting up. Stacey be lying and scrapping. I know that's right. Okay, she was definitely out of place. She was out of place and out of order. Y'all are too much. Monique is not bothered, but Keiarna is. Exactly. Yeah, she has some charges. Google her charges. She has a whole rap sheet. A mess. Stacey needs to say, try me in German. Exactly. Cookie crumbled and fumbled. Child. Kay can't wait till Karen come back. Cookie's thirst this episode was so bad, she needed the whole of Lake Michigan to quench it. Oh, I agree. No, do you see how, wait, hold on. Do you see how the live chat, do y'all see how the live chats act up? If you are new here, please know that this is an every everyday thing. Every time this camera goes on, the live chat is out of control. And I already knew that y'all would cut up in this I said, oh, okay. When I saw Cookie come through with her nonsense, I said, oh, okay, the chat is going to be in rare form yet again. And once again, y'all are in rare form. Let me move over here so I can point my finger. That's why I love a live instead of a pre-recorded recap. Yeah, I know, but it's so hard to please everybody because a lot of y'all love the lives, but then some of y'all still love a pre-recorded recap, and I love a pre-recorded recap too. But baby, the way y'all cut up in these lives, I always say, it makes it hard to want to do a pre-recorded recap because the way you guys are so funny and in real time too, like y'all cut up in the live chats more than you guys do in my comment section. Hey, Ivans Lira, thank you for the super chat. Even Tamara tried Stacey and she failed. Oh, yes, because Stacey got her good at BravoCon. When Tamara said she's the thirstiest housewife, and Stacey said, no, baby, you better walk that back. You better pick somebody else. Don't say my name. Your lives give me life. Oh, thank you so much, honey. The jokes be flying. You said they're booing you. Baby, we have a good old time. You said, I lied, dropped a dime, pointed my finger, and what? Of course, she said exactly. She said, who gonna check me? Nobody. Stacey said, try again. She sure did. Cookie's way too invested into Chris. I agree. I agree. I think that there's a little bit of a crush there. I think that Cookie wants Chris for herself, and she's trying to be the investigator because I guess I don't know. It's not adding up to me. But she's way too invested because I think she wants him. That's what it's giving. Thank you. We always have a good old time. Yeah, babe. She said, who gonna check me? Not you, boo. Exactly. Chris must have turned her down. Chris don't want Cookie. Is Cookie a blogger or something? I think so. I believe so. I honestly don't know. Cookie needs to get to the old folks' home. What up, though? 313. Amen, Brooke. That's exactly the way she was so happy to tell them he was texting her in the first place. Yes, that part stood out to me. That episode when we first were introduced to her, and she was, they were at the breakfast spot that Karen likes, and she said, oh yeah, I was texting him. He texts me all the time. We talk every day. It's like, girl, you're obviously very excited about that. You're very eager to be in Chris's sphere. Like, you're very eager to be around that man. In the words of Portia, she done prop them big old jugs up, and now she thinks she's doing something. Y'all are so funny. Child. Cookie's like Cookie on Next Friday, chasing Mike Epps around with a cookie. Is giving desperate. Oh, absolutely. Yes. Cookie is your typical old auntie, male identified, mad at the women who he wants because he doesn't want her. Oh, 100%. I couldn't have said it better myself. 100%. Oh, absolutely. 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 Very much desperado. Yeah, she's an old thirsty groupie who wants camera time. I agree. Pick me down. Exactly. Clocked it. Exactly. Oh, clocked it for real. Absolutely. Oh no, you ate that up. You ate that up because that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what she gives. How you a groupie at 60? Ain't Cookie his mama's age? Child. Yeah, she is the president of the Chris fan club. Exactly. Cookie is the auntie that gets kicked out as soon as she steps foot in my door. Pig Misha 101. Yes. Stacey ate them up and fast, not slow. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, did that. Stacey ate down, honey. Child. A mess. Miss Cookie almost brought that Detroit out of Stacey. Oh, absolutely. Stacey was ready. Stacey was with the you know what. She was ready. She was ready for Cookie. I firmly believe that she would have wore Cookie out. She would have laid her right out on that floor. I believe it. I believe it. I think Cookie is jealous of Stacey. I agree, because for her to say, and take a bath with your funky self, and say, no, I can't talk about, what she said to her when she first walked up to her, she says, don't play stupid with me. Like, her energy was already off. I said, girl, what is going on? Yes, the orange on Stacey's skin, she looked amazing. And I like her new confessional look too. She looks good. Cookie needs to be inducted into OLG. Yes. Old lady gang. Hey, Kadaya Torre, thank you for the super chat. Did you see Angel's press run? She's dragging Jizzy, Ashley, and Wendy. How do you think she's going to do at the reunion? This ain't looking good. Yeah, I've seen it. I think I'm prayerful that she is ready for this reunion. I am prayerful. I really am. I'm going to send Angel good vibes. I think that people underestimate how ruthless and how shrewd the OGs and the vets are. I hope that she's prepared. Angel is an easy read. Oh, absolutely. I have hope. I have hope that she holds her own at this reunion. Brooks, do you think Cookie could be behind the other rumors? Oh, I do. Oh, absolutely. It tracks. It definitely tracks. It would not surprise me. Cookie's very desperate. She wants to be on the show. She's also doing Karen's bidding. The fact that she's on the outs with Monique. She's on the outs with Stacey. She's tight with Chris Samuels. There's some weird behavior going there. Has all these charges against her. It's a very interesting rap sheet. So yeah, I believe that she could be behind the other rumors. Absolutely. It now has me thinking that the rumors that we've heard on Potomac throughout the years, she could be behind all of them. Not saying that that's the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if it came out that she was behind a lot of the past nonsense, in my opinion. It's giving Summer Walker, I want to be the side. Yes. Y'all have me. You said Cookie is Cole's girlfriend from Martin. I'm screaming. I would have told her she smells like wet cookies, child. Cookie ain't coming back. Why is Bravo not doing background checks? I don't know. I think with Angel, knowing what she knows now, she'll be okay for the reunion. I agree. That's why I have hope. I have hope. I know. We'll do a separate live on that, because I do want to talk more in depth about like the desperate behavior. Like we talked about it. We spoke about it when I talked about Candy and Todd in the last live. But we do need to talk about this. Like Summer Walker sounds ridiculous. To tell a man, save me as Pizza Hut. Like you're telling a man who's married that you're willing to be his side. And for you to say, save me in your phone as Pizza Hut so that your wife won't know, she's sick. And that's why, if I'm being honest with you, I can't listen to her music. I'm very intentional about what I consume, what I listen to. I don't want to hear desperado music. I don't. She's an artist where there's like, I don't listen to her music. I can't get into it. I can't do the desperado. Like that stuff affects your mind. It's just, no. I'm in shock that you would beg a man to be his side piece, a married man to be his side piece. It's like, and you don't even, for like women who want to be a side, it's like, do you understand that you're bringing a curse on your life to want to be a side chick to a married man? Like you're cursing your own life. Like we'll talk about this at another time, but just a hot mess. Yes. I can't get into I could never get into SZA's music either. It's just I can't. I can't. I just there's some artists I can't get into their music. I can't do the pick me desperado stuff. It doesn't resonate with me. I can't get into it. The frequency is off. It's just I can't. It's very low vibrational, very very much so. He's engaged, Brooke. They're not married yet, but still, that's sad. That's pathetic. That's pathetic. It's just, it's ridiculous. I don't listen to any of her music either. The only song I knew of hers is Playing Games. They put desperation curses on their music. Yes, it's true. That's why some of these girls are brainwashed now, because I don't understand. We're seeing an uptick in desperation, and I'm going to keep saying it until the wheels fall off. I'm going to keep saying it until the cows come home. There is an uptick in desperation. I feel like a lot of women are regressing. There's something wrong. That whole thing, what's her, Tim and Brene, old girl sitting up there. How is that your best friend and you're sneaking off with her husband? And you see how being a side chick never pays, because now she's sued. She got sued because in some states, so southern states, they don't play with infidelity. The wife can sue, and you see that she's sitting up there with her best friend's man, her husband, and now the wife won the lawsuit, and now she has to pay up $1.7 million for being a mistress. So you see, it's horrible. The Weekend song. Remember that song that the song, You're Monday through Friday, I'm the Weekend. Like a lot. I'm sharing a man. I think that's the epitome of desperation. So there's an uptick in pick me women. Absolutely. I thought that song was about an open. That's one song. I mean, still though, like I don't listen. For me personally, I'm just. It's not for me. It's not for me. My teenagers were singing that Weekend song. I almost cussed them out. I never liked SZA's The Weekend. You take Wednesday, Thursday, then just send him my way. Exactly. Yeah, that one song was enough for me. Exactly. We need that law in New York. Yes. No. It's true. No, I do too. I thank God every day that I'm in my right mind. No, it's true. For real. We have so many nuts out here. People not emotionally regulated. Folks have low self-esteem. If you have high self-esteem, you feel good about yourself, you love yourself, you have standards and boundaries, that is a blessing, because the majority of people don't have that. So if you have that, you better thank the Lord every single day, honey, because I thank God every day, every minute of the day. I thank my Lord and Savior. Thank you, Jesus. I'm in my right mind, because it did not have to be. It's a blessing that a lot of people don't have. A lot of people aren't at peace. People fighting all sorts of demons inside. They're mad at other people. They're jealous of other people. So if you're a happy person, stuff going for you, you look good, you feel good, God is good, honey. You better thank him every single day, because it's crazy out here, honey. It is crazy out here. It's crazy out here. Please. Okay? Because folks out here are fighting all sorts of stuff on the inside. So if you are in your right mind, you need to thank the Lord, because it didn't. What's that? My dad would always say, by the grace of God, there go I. Oh my God, I used to like chuckle when he said that, like, oh, Dad, you're so dramatic. But you get older, you're just like, no, it's the truth. Like, it's not a given that you're going to be in your right mind, honey. You listen, it's a blessing. It's a having peace in your life. It's a blessing. A blessing. Okay. We see when we get nuts in the chat, when nuts trying to pop up in the chat, I look at them and I say, wow, like they're not at peace. You see it every day, nuts. And you just say, thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord it's not you. You have folks miserable. They want to spread misery. Just saying. You guys think I'm joking? I'm so serious. Yes, but for God, there go I. It's the truth. It's the truth. Because if it were not for the Lord, who knows where any of us would be, okay? So I said, God, thank you. I don't take it for granted. Okay? So, child. But guys, I've kept you long enough. I'll see y'all later. I'll see y'all for SLC or something, but I'm gonna get off now. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Monday evening, and I will see you all for the next one, and we'll have a good time as always. But I had a great time with y'all. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to y'all. Thank you to all my moderators. Thank y'all for making the chat nice and smooth. Thank you guys for all the love. I just love y'all down. I will see you all for the next one, and have a wonderful rest of your night and be blessed. Okay. Bye, y'all.